Hello, everybody. Today we're going to find the derivative using the definition of derivative. Our function is g of x equal to 1 over 1 plus square root of x. Now, the derivative, g prime x, would be the limit as h approaches 0 of g x plus h minus g of x over h. That's equal to the limit as h approaches 0 of g x plus h. So we're going to go in the function here and replace x with x plus h. So it will be 1 over 1 plus square root of x plus h minus g of x, that's 1 over 1 plus square root of x divided by h. So here we have two fractions. We need to combine them into one fraction. So we'll get that's equal to the limit as h approaches 0. So you take this 1, multiply by this, 1 plus square root of x minus 1 times this. So you get 1 plus square root of x plus h divided by the product of these two, divided by h. Okay, now let's go ahead and simplify this. So this is equal to the limit as h approaches 0 of 1 plus square root of x. So you distribute the negative here, negative 1 minus square root of x plus h divided by, so here you're going to get this times this times this, right? So you get h 1 plus square root of x plus h times 1 plus square root of x. Okay, simplifying this, so the 1 cancels. So you'll be left with the limit as h approaches 0 of square root of x minus square root of x plus h divided by the denominator. So here we cannot use direct substitution. Here we have h in here, so the denominator would be 0, so we need to do something else. If we multiply by the conjugate of the numerator, the conjugate of the numerator would be times square root of x plus square root of x plus h divided by square root of x plus square root of x plus h. So when you multiply the numerators, okay, you're going to get the limit as h approaches 0. So that gives me this one squared minus this one squared. If you recall, a minus b times a plus b is a squared minus b squared. So that's what we have here. The product of the sum and difference of two numbers. That's what we have. So this one squared, that would give me x minus this one squared. The square root cancels out, and you'd be left with x plus h divided by the numerator. It's going to be a little bit long, but we'll go ahead and write this down. So times this, square root of x plus square root of x plus h. Okay, so what happens here? The negative, you're going to have x minus x, so the x is going to cancel. You can, if you want to, cancel x here if you like. And you'd be left with the limit as h approaches 0 of negative h divided by this whole thing, 1 plus x plus h So what happens now? The h will cancel out. okay? So the h would cancel. You'd be left with -1 in the numerator. And then you can now plug in 0 for h. We can do that now. So here you have -1 and this cancels. Now replace h with 0. So you'll be left with -1 in the numerator divided by 1 plus square root of x plus 0, which is simply x. This will not change. It does not have the h term. And this one would be square root of x plus square root of x plus 0, so square root of x. So you notice that you can combine some terms here. So that's the same as -1. So the product of these two, so here you have 1 plus square root of x squared. And here square root of x plus square root of x, that's times 2 square root of x. You can clean it up if you want. You can write here the -1 divided by 2 square root of x, 1 plus square root of x squared. And here's your answer. We just found the derivative using the definition of the derivative. I hope you found this video helpful. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.